This episode of The Breakfast Dish is brought to you by Career Essentials, a new podcast from techlifetoday.ca and Nate.
I think Dad maybe wrote for Tech Life once or twice.
I think he did too.
Oh my God.
Break up Nate for me. Northern
Alberta Institute of Technology.
Good boy. Career Essentials offers real-world advice and insight into different careers and career paths. It features the stories and experiences of NAIT alumni with lessons for everyone. What do you think they would tell you?
I'll tell you something about NAIT alumni. Huh? A lot of the film sets I've worked on have a lot of NAIT grads on it.
So they would be telling you to follow some sort of film career.
Something like that.
Which you did. They're so smart. Discover perspectives, tools, and tips essential to career growth and success, no matter what stage you're at in your career journey. A recent episode you might find interesting features Edmonton chef Stephen Brochu of Milk Crate.
I love Milk Crate.
He explains why mental health in the restaurant industry often gets ignored and shares what he's doing to change that. Gosh, bless you. Stephen Brochu, where were you when I was 18?
Stephen, you a bro. Shoo.
Find Career Essentials on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also find it at techlifetoday.ca/podcast.
And they're going to have funnier jokes than my Brochu joke. Come on.
You tried, boy. You tried. Mommy's proud.
Tell me your dreams over bacon and eggs. We'll share a laugh and a story and even a wish on the breakfast dish. Bop, 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 bop,
good morning, everyone. Good morning, Griffin Cork, my son, co-host of this podcast, The Breakfast Dish.
5 more minutes.
Honey, get up.
No, this will be good for the audio medium. Let's just all stay quiet while I sleep for 5 more minutes, okay?
I'm going to be late for work.
Uh-oh.
Get up. Get dressed.
Why do I have to be up for you to be late for... What is... I'm an adult now, so me being up doesn't actually pertain to you getting to work.
I'm just going back to my 5-minute days when my mom would yell to the three of us from downstairs that we were making her late and she was going to get fired because she had to drive us to school before she went to...
Right,
work.
so that's the other thing. So we don't even live together right now. So you called
I'm not working right now, so...
It's currently 6:04 a.m. On a crisp December morning, and you called me to get up.
Hey, I want to go back to something. 1 year when you were like 9 years old.
Maybe not. No, you were younger. 28 seconds into an episode, and you already want to go back to something?
Well, yes, because today we're recording this on Thursday, April 1st, which is April Fool's Day. We're not recording in the morning, but we're recording on April Fool's Day, which reminds me that we once woke you up at 6 o'clock in the morning on April Fool's when you were like in grade 1 or 2 or something. And it was a Saturday, and we woke you up at 6 and we're like, buddy, you're late for school. Buddy, put on your coat. No, there's no time for breakfast. Here's your lunch. And I handed you like dry Ichiban noodles. And we said, go to school. And you were like, oh, and you got your clothes on because you were such an obedient kid. And and we sent you out in like your parka or whatever, told you it was freezing outside. And then when you got to the end of the sidewalk, we said April Fools.
So sometimes in like post-secondary training, and as you're exploring the art that you make and the artist career, you it's kind of hard to talk about sometimes, but you bring up past traumas often, and thankfully I've lived a pretty privileged, lucky life. And if I had to pick like one large trauma, it would be that fucking morning. Now, on the flip side of that, though, because I did deserve it. So, do you remember the April Fools where I trapped you and Father in your room and set like 25 Home Alone pranks?
Yep.
All around the house. Do you remember any of them?
I think you saran wrapped a toilet seat, but I caught it.
That's correct.
I think you changed the salt for the sugar. That one I didn't catch. I got caught. I can't remember what else.
I put hand lotion on your door handles so you couldn't get out of the room for a while there. I froze a bowl of cereal and then gave it to Dad. None of them were like really harmful except for the saran wrap one. That one could have been so bad.
Yeah, but it's a standard, so it's a trope. We all look for it if you were of a certain generation.
Watch this transition. Would you say that I was acting like a bum?
I would say you were being a big bum.
I couldn't remember if it was bum or butt. I think it's bum.
It's bum.
It's ass.
And you know what? I have so much excitement about talking to our next guests.
Okay. All right. Uh-huh. And keep going. Sorry. Let's do one more. And
I hope that I don't act too princessy, because I'm going to want to have some, I want to talk more than you.
Sure.
Because it's kind of my bag.
Okay, actually, I'm in that one. I'm into.
This bit is dragging on, guys.
Oh! That's an entrance if I ever heard one. Welcome to episode 45 of The Breakfast Dish. We haven't talked about what we do. We talk about socially distant online art. If you haven't heard about it, then, I mean, come on. Episode 35, you know what we're doing here. We have Daniel Fong and JP Thibodeau on from Storybook Theatre and their production of A Paper Bag Princess. Gentlemen, how are you?
Oh, feeling great this morning. I tell ya, just... Sorry, I have to go back. I was asking them before we hopped on. I was like, do I have to pretend like it's the morning because it's called The Breakfast Dish? And Karen Johnson Diamond assured me that I didn't. And then her first words on this podcast was, "Good morning, everyone." And I freaked out again. And I was like, they April 1sted me.
You don't. Listeners, we assume you're listening to it during breakfast or while walking your dog, Mark Bellamy. But if you're not listening to it, if you're listening to it at 9:00 at night, that's okay, because we're taping it at 1:13 p.m. in the afternoon. We've all had our breakfast.
Yeah, and actually, the NDA that Daniel signed, I mean, it's going to ruin him in court, because I cannot believe he let our secrets go like that. I'm a litigious podcast host, and you'll be destroyed.
Joke's on you. I change my signature every time so they can't track it back.
My name's Maxwell Frotherby.
There we go. See? That's convincing.
All that to say, feeling good this morning. Yep.
That is the last line of, or close to the last line of Paper Bag Princess, right? Because I don't think you're a prince. I don't think you're handsome. I think you are a bum or something.
It definitely is.
Mm-hmm.
Bum, bum, bum.
Right. So let's get into the context a little bit about it. Why that I chose that to be my transition. Daniel, do you want to explain your role in Storybook Theatre's production of A Paper Bag Princess?
Yeah, for those of you who don't know the book, I play Prince Ronald, and he is incredibly handsome, attractive, talented, well-loved prince.
Suave
sexy man with zero flaws.
Huge arm.
All the things children's programming need.
Yeah, and we get to the end of he gets kidnapped by a dragon, and his princess has to come save him. And not too many spoilers, but I mean, it's a children's book. If you haven't read it by now, you've had like 40 years of your life.
Come on, what's wrong with you?
Why are you here? You can just go read it yourself if you don't want spoilers right now, and come back. It'll take you like 30 seconds. It's fair game for everyone.
It's not long at all.
But anyway, he gets kidnapped by a dragon. His princess has to go find him. The journey is enlightening for her. She discovers so much about herself and what it means to be a powerful princess who goes out and gets things done. She shows up to rescue her prince, and she does not look like a princess at all because of the tolls of the journey, and he cannot get past the surface to surface difference between them, and he rejects her. And her final words to him are, "Ronald, you are a bum." And in our beautiful music, Joe Slabe, the musical director and writer for the show, creates a beautiful bum harmony at the end, which has to be heard.
There's a quote, bum harmonies.
Yeah.
Bum harmonies. Joe Slabe, creating bum harmonies since 2001.
JP Thibodeau,
Yes.
artistic director, producer, executive. What is your title?
All mean the same thing, really. It's just one person.
Why choose this story/musical in your programming?
What is behind the actor?
I'm doing my FM radio voice. Why choose this for your programming?
Well, it's we picked it because we were planning to do a North American tour. Was why we had chosen this originally, to kind of give it some legs. And Joe's a great writer. He's from Calgary, and I love working with him, obviously, but I wanted to see his work head beyond the walls of Calgary. And I thought the Paper Bag Princess would be the way to do it. And so it's actually been touring. There's a school tour that happened last year in Ontario from another company. And so we thought, okay, clearly there's a hunger and need for this. And who doesn't love Robert Munch, and who doesn't love Paper Bag Princess? Right. So we thought, let's make this happen and get some artists from Calgary on the road touring a Calgary work that people will think is incredible. So that was the goal. And then the pandemic hit. And that changed everything. But we still realized that people wanted to see it. So we've tried this a couple times now with theater on film or theater, whatever you want to call it.
Theater.
Film sounds like a disease that you get from eating too many thimbles.
Yeah.
That's great.
Sounds like something you scrape off the bottom of a deep well.
I got a call. I'm film positive. It's hard. My family's there for me, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're doing that, and we're putting this out there and giving families kind of Joe Slabay special in this way. The other great thing, too, is that because we're producing and filming it in this way, we'll now have a great marketing tool to sell it to theaters across North America. So it's kind of a win-win for the show in that way.
This is maybe something I don't know. Is the musical version of the Paper Bag Princess a Joe Slabay original?
Yeah.
Whoa, I didn't know that at all. Okay, very cool. I love this.
Yeah. So Tara Blue and Joe, Tara Blue with Blue Collar Dance, I believe is the company, back in 2003. She kind of asked commissioned Joe to write the show. So he took the book and it went from 7 pages to 55 minutes. Made up a whole storyline for Daniel's character.
And I will just say, just like Phil Collins and Tarzan, Joe Slabay did not have to go so hard on this musical. He did this for us. It's a children's book TYA show. He could have just slapped some tunes together, but it's good.
Oh, great.
He didn't have to go so hard on those bum harmonies.
No, yeah. He could have stopped at just bum, but he added 4 other harmony lines on top, And that's the kind of stuff you got to expect from Joe.
Here's a fun fact. One of the very first plays I ever saw in Calgary was a workshop reading, I think, of something called, I feel like it was either Grey's or Grey's Anatomy, that was co-written by Joe Slabay and Chris Enright's older brother, Don Enright. How's that for how old I am? That's the first time I met Joe. Anyway, it was really good.
Was it about the medical profession?
And then did he sell it to Shonda Rhimes? And now Joe got screwed out of it.
Because I think Grey's Anatomy is a book, it's the medical book.
Yeah.
So it was something, I don't know. I was 12. I can't remember what it was about. That was so long ago. I was probably pregnant with you and my brain
Don't
wasn't
get mad at us for asking questions. You brought up the story.
I'm mad at you.
Got it. Okay. That's actually fair. I deserve that. I did saran wrap on your toilet earlier today. So, yeah. That's my bad.
Wondered what was all over my floor. JP, this is a remount? I mean, in the sense that you have produced this musical before, back in when?
2007.
Wow.
No. 7? No. I don't even know when.
A couple of times, though, right? 16?
JP's nose is bleeding, which is crazy. 7? No? Oh, no.
No. Yeah, 2016 and 17 season, or 40th season.
Daniel, you were or were not in that production?
I was not. No, I actually just joined the production for this leg of it here.
It's a whole new cast.
Oh, the whole cast is new.
The whole cast is new for this version, yeah.
Who else? Who else is in the cast?
JP, do you want to go? As the god of Storybook Theatre. Sorry, I just realized that's probably a question JP
No, you can answer away. We've got a great cast. Obviously, Daniel Fong is Prince Ronald. Princess Elizabeth, Paper Bag Princess herself, is Jillian Bauer, a longtime Storybook alumni. And then in the musical version that Joe wrote, there are 3 ladies in waiting where there are not ladies in waiting in the actual Munch book. So Pinyal Negra, Shelby Wilson, and Kelsey Verzati play the ladies in waiting. And then the nemesis of the show, or the arch villain of the show, is the dragon, played by Stephen Morton.
Stephen Morton, cool.
Yeah, Really great cast, really great ensemble, great team to work with. And of course, we brought Val Pearson back to direct, and Lauren Thompson to choreograph, and Joe to musical direct. So,
and you have a pretty solid dragon puppet, right?
Huge dragon puppet. We built a brand new one.
Huge.
They built a brand new one for this production. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. And it's a monster.
And it is a honker. It is a beast.
It's a beast. Yeah.
It is terrifying.
They didn't have to go so hard on that dragon puppet, but boy did they.
Again, seriously.
Yeah, I think it weighs about 60 pounds, Stephen Morton was saying. The head alone is about 40
and
pounds.
And does he manage it himself, or?
Yeah.
60 is a lot.
Which gave us great appreciation for film. Like when you think of like X-Men or all those Marvel movies where they get in makeup and have all that stuff, and we would literally have to time the shooting based on how long Stephen could last in the costume.
Right.
To make it work because, think about film, you're reshooting scene after scene over and over. There's only so many takes he could do before he's like, I'm done.
Because he's carrying that while singing.
Not while singing, because we had to pre-record the show.
Oh.
OCL Studios
of course, that's right. That's
donated their time, and so we got to pre-record the entire cast album. Yeah, so Stephen had to carry around this dragon, and it was a workout.
He had to lip sync for his life in a dragon costume.
Griffin, I don't know if you've ever heard him sing, but I got to work with Stephen in Cowtown Opera, and he's got like the most, I don't know much about music, but his tenor, I think he's a tenor, like a solid, his voice is like, anyway, you'll be amazed. It's very good voice.
Wow.
That's what I know about music.
JP, this is Storybook Theatre's third production that has gone from theater to film.
Correct.
What have you found is the biggest difference? I mean, especially because I think Spring Awakening was your hardest shift, right? From going to live. With Annie and Paper Bag Princess, you had a little bit more time to plan. So what would you say you've learned in that sense of the middle ground between not a movie and not theater, but right in the middle? Well recorded theater.
Theater is not meant for film?
Hey, how about that? That's why they're called two different things.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's been the hardest one, is how the hell do you translate that live medium to film? And there's just really no way, and so you've got to find ways to make it interesting, and that's what we've been navigating, is literally, we're not just filming theater, we're going, how do we make it actually fun or actually interesting? So when people watch, they go, oh, it kind of felt like theater, but we know it's not, and so we're not just filming it. And so if it was a film, you'd go, okay, we're going to capture these shots and do this shot, this shot, this shot. But with theater, we're going, okay, we're going to capture this shot, but how to, like, if it doesn't look good, then what's the next step? And we're talking, like, how do you make a 13-foot puppet look like it's acting? Where in a theater space, you get away with the whole ambience of it. A lighting can help hide things, but in film, it's literally a close-up of this puppet opening and closing its mouth. So yeah, it's I think in general, it's the ambition when I started was, we can do this, we can capture great archivals. But getting into it, I realized no one's going to want to watch it if it's just a great archival. It's got to have a little bit something extra and something different than just a film. So what is that? And so every show has been a challenge to go, what's that little bit extra that's going to make people go, that was fun to watch? And not feel like they could have spent more money on, in the Marvel universe and made special effects and everything else. So, how do we get away with it being still a theater show and not being a full $1 million budget movie? So what's that balance?
It is interesting. Like when people hear film, for some reason they imagine like millions of dollars. When Morgan and I were shooting Abracadabras a few summers ago, anytime we went to any location or anyone like tried to be like, hey, what are you guys doing over here? We always said it's a student film because we had some money, but not that much money. So we say it's a student film, which there were students on it. So there is an immediate.
So they didn't expect the huge bells and whistles, you mean?
Yeah, I think like they were a little bit more accommodating with like rental prices and whatnot. But also, I think student film has a. Oh my God! No, I hope no one listens to this. I think there's also a greater allowance for. Sure, the student film can shoot on my property. That's fine. I think a little bit.
You're 100% right, though.
No,
like 100% right, because. Because even with pricing, right, like pricing the show, people are like, oh, $32. Like, I can get 3 months of Netflix for that price, right? And millions of shows, right? And it's like, well, it's totally different. I mean, it even goes back to our conversation earlier about, executive director roles, those roles in theater in general, right? And what people think of that job and the expectations that come along with it. Comes with the valuation, right? And so when you say $32, they want their $32 worth. And so we have to find a way to make it feel like they got their $32 worth, or at least justify that what they're seeing cost what they spent. And that's the navigation here.
And again, very, very careful of spoilers, but is there let's say in Annie, is there one shot that you went, this is going to be like big money production value? Like is there an aspect that you changed to go, let's make it pizzazz. Let's give it some oomph.
What do you think, Daniel?
I mean, I already do $32 worth of just scenery chewing the whole time. So They really, honestly, if they watch it back, there's like 2 full shows going on. There's what everyone's doing, and then there's whatever I'm doing in my own world in the background.
Yeah. As I sat editing, I would go, uh-oh, Daniel's going to be disappointed he's not on the screen for that shot.
But Daniel, talk about that from an actor who's primarily a stage actor in that weird land of transitioning to all of a sudden you're acting for camera. And yet what JP was saying, it's film or it's theater, because anything that I've done like live on stream or whatever, which isn't very much, everybody's going, we need more energy from you, Karen, give more energy, because we're reminded that what we're watching is a live production. What you guys are doing right then is a live production. So anyway, what did you find great about it? What did you hate about it? Because you got to do your big acting for a small camera.
Yeah, it's I mean, as a stage performer, it's very exciting, honestly, I find, to switch to film, because you get to enjoy and play with all the benefits that film offers. You know, like you don't have to deal with all the little MacGuffins that you have to do when you're doing stage stuff, like transitions. Like I don't have to worry about fixing the air brakes on this thing because they're not going to see me moving the set piece on and off, right? Stuff like that. All those little things that like you have to kind of navigate your way around in a live production. You just get to enjoy the full benefits of just editing, which is a joy. In terms of transitioning to it, they were pretty clear with us from the start that like this is still going to be a filmed theater production. So it's not a filmed production. So they don't want realistic, like kind of like the Into the Woods style acting that's like up close, Les Mis kind of up close camera acting, in the same sense as they're like, we want you guys to give your kind of theater performances, and we are going to capture that on film in a way that looks better than as if we were just doing wide angle archival shots, kind of thing. So it was pretty great for us. We got to kind of like do what we do naturally.
Great.
And then JP found a way to hopefully translate and make that look better on camera than it would as if it was just like the usual kind of static shots. And like from what I was able to see while I was watching other people film, is it actually translates quite well, because when people come in with the expectation of seeing a filmed theater production, there is that expectation of a certain level of energy and a level of kind of heightened reality and amounts of drama and stuff that they come to expect, that they have in that thing. And that translates across as long as the performers are still giving their honest kind of theater performances. So I thought it was very exciting to kind of play with all the different kinds of shots that we could get and like those kinds of things. And then, yeah, all the little adjustments and things were kind of out of our hands, which was really nice as a performer.
I also imagine, from talking theater transitioning to film, that musicals would probably translate better than non-musicals in terms of the way that they... I think in musicals, breaking into song and kind of inviting the audience into like what they're feeling is a lot... I think that would translate better to film a lot more than like a production of Glass Menagerie. Like it's where it is a lot of those small moments that are brought to life by the fact that it's live, but I don't know if that would translate well. But, you know, and again, like there's exceptions, like large enemy, like Governor, no, two
man, two governors.
Thank you. One man, two governors. Like again, which again, because there's a lot of asides and like, what was that? Like to camera. I think that's good too. But yeah, I imagine musicals translate a little better.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like if an audience member is going to buy in already to the fact that I'm now singing stuff, then they're willing to buy into anything else we can give them, right? Like at that point, you've got them. So
if they're going to buy into the fact that that's actually a paper bag she's wearing.
Exactly. Yeah, you know, if they've gone down the musical rabbit hole already, you can pretty much get away with whatever you want.
Is there anything you've run into that's the mixing of the two mediums that's become like almost like a challenge? For me, I would think like having the precise, I mean, I guess it's different because you guys are in wide angles, but having the precise marks of film while still like cheating out, how does that play?
That was tough. I think that's been the hardest one for the actors to get used to. So we had tons of marks. Like we would mark, every scene had marks. But the cheating out to camera became the actual ironic. You'd think that the theater actors would be more able to cheat out, but because they were so focused on the theater production and the whole visual, when I had close-ups of single actors who weren't cheating out, but I want their close-up, we'd have to reshoot, you know, just their close-up on an outward angle because they were so into the scene, right? Where in film, you're marking them, you're putting them in certain spots. They're already facing the camera. The camera's being set up specifically for that actor to do all that. Where in this, we can't do that. So we would have to do some setups where we'd capture things that were lost because the wide shot didn't capture enough of a face in one scene. But there was a lot of marking, especially I think the hardest one, and Daniel will attest to this one, is how close to the audience they could come. Because they would get beyond the camera, beyond the lens, right? Or how wide they could go. They'd rehearse in the stage. We kind of give them a ballpark of here's kind of the camera eye, and how far you can stage this shot. But, it's pretty limited. And then when they got on set with the actual cameras, they're dancing like, oh, I'm not in frame anymore. And then we'd have to literally put spikes in the ground to say you can't walk past this mark because you're not in frame anymore for all the choreo.
I am not known for my consistency. I am not known. I'm known for making bold, silly, bad choices. I'm not known for making those choices again and again perfectly. So I'll probably 80% of the tape was for me.
It's going to be different. It's going to be in a different spot in every background shot.
We could probably count the number of times I kind of just slide in and out of frame, kind of drift hither and thither. Yeah.
It's like Find Your Light, Daniel, only even more precise.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, JP, I directed a film theater piece at Christmas time. And the biggest challenge for me was the fact that there's supposed to be audience participation. And how do you do that, right? How do you engage? How do you feel like you're bringing the kids into the camera or whatever? So I don't know. I've only seen Paper Bag Princess live once, but having 20 years of working on Munch through Quest Theatre, there's so many shows that have callback and feedback and ugly, ugly, ugly and Mortimer Be Quiet. Is there a way? Does that normally happen during Paper Bag Princess, or was there a way to incorporate that?
Yeah, that was the biggest navigation for Val, I think, as the director. She just said she couldn't, but she was trying to wrap her head around, how do we capture these, what used to be audience interaction moments, and what do we do to do that? And so we found a bunch of different ways to do it, and then this is the first show in the three we've created where I was really adamant that we wouldn't use film technique to tell, we would do a lot of cutaways to tell a story or, just film technique. I want to keep it as traditional, we're capturing a lot. Everything that happened on our filming could happen in live theater.
Okay.
But one moment in the show, we realized wouldn't happen no matter what we did because it involved the audience so much. So we actually chose to shoot it like a music video. So we have cutaways and we have this whole section where the girls are teaching the dragon fitness routines and chasing him and doing all that stuff. So while the girls are singing their song, we cut away to the Rocky montage of him getting ready to go around the world. And so we actually do that in this show where we hadn't done that before because this whole section was actually audience involvement. And we just didn't know any other way to do it other than try and talk to the camera and hope the kids at home talk back, which just seemed like it would leave everyone with a little bit of egg on their face.
Well, so. I also think changing the perspective is still, in the sense of moving the camera or changing where the audience is looking, that can still be exciting kind of in any medium. Even in the first couple times where I saw a play when I was a kid and one of the actors came in from the audience and they're not on the stage, they're down here with us. That's great. That's even little spits.
You're not a...
or that's why I found Space Theater is so cool, right? Because you go into a place that even you might know and it looks different and there's people here that aren't normally here. It's, it feels like you did great.
I mean, as the performers in the thing, it was really cool. And I think a lot of it, the hardest thing that JP was talking about is establishing, as a performer, when you're connecting to the camera and in what way, what is your relationship to the camera in each scene? Because sometimes you would have direct address, how you establish it, as if you're looking to the audience or as if they're allowed to just watch in on this scene, and the way that it plays out. Because when we're trying to have a more intimate or close scene on the thing, you're not actually playing it directly down the camera lens necessarily because you're with your partner on scene. But then when you really want the audience in and amongst the action, as if you were going out into the audience, that's when you have to have the camera kind of in play in motion and action on set kind of thing. So
Is it terrible that I'm so glad to hear other people had these struggles? That it wasn't just me in November going, but wait a minute, are they in the room or are they not in the room? Are they watching the room or are they with the...
Now my brain's racing though, because Griffin's right. Musicals are easier than plays. Our next one is a play. And I'm like, oh man, how's this one going to work?
Do you know what it is? Can you tell us? Or is it a secret?
Well, the next one's Smartest Girl in the World.
Oh.
Smartest Girl, Javier Villalta is directing it. So it's going to be interesting again to see how that plays out as a play on film. That's not a film.
You know what, though? Here's what I've learned. Here's what I'm taking away from the pandemic. At the beginning, I wasn't interested in watching theater on film or online. I wasn't, and I think not for any other reason, not because it was good or bad or had found its footing or anything, but because my brain wasn't there for it. Like I couldn't, it's not what my brain wanted to do. My brain wanted to worry and whatever. But since then, I've watched a number of things online. And each time I'm enjoying it more and more because I start feeling again like, oh, it's live theater, because most of the things I'm watching have people I know in them. So, it's really weird, but watching a show and going, oh, look, there's Daniel, like even watching your lunchbox reading that you did, right? It's like, I forget that I'm watching it on Zoom because I know you guys and I know the world of listening to a play reading. So for me, it doesn't even matter. And I know the benefit is you can have so many more people in the world watch your work because you've put it online. But I wonder if people who don't know Daniel get that same feeling. But I'm starting to really enjoy watching things online. It's taken a year, but I'm enjoying it.
There's
now.
also a difference, I think, watching it as performers and people in the industry, because then there's, I think, another level of appreciating the work, that like knowing how hard it is. And then also when they like the specifically the lunchbox reading Daniel did, I think with the assistance of Storybook, if I'm right about that, had like live singing that was also not affected by Zoom delay. And so as a performer watching that, you go, whoa, like you guys did, like the fact that they figured that out is another level of like, good for you guys. Like the appreciation of kind of reveling in that, like, whoa, we figured it out.
And it's been really interesting, like just looking back over the pandemic, just to see how much it has evolved from the start. Like I think all of us as theater artists are really thrust into this kind of unknown world when everything hit. And so like you look back to the start when everyone was doing like their very first Zoom readings and workshops and things, and like people haven't even figured out how to mute, unmute, and like are just covering cameras with hands and things. Like it was such a learning curve. But I think, I mean, we've had time. Everyone has been growing and adapting and putting the work in. And now we're at a place like with Paper Bag Princess or with this reading at Lunchbox where we can have people singing live in real time with each other over the thing, or we're at a level of production where we can kind of create these things, which is again very exciting to me as a performer, just to see, like, even when I'm watching it through an outside lens, it's just exciting to see that the work has been put in and that the benefit is starting to show.
I have to back up on something and point out that yes, the lunchbox reading of Home for the Holidays by Alex Cowman and Kaylee Reggett, I'm just making sure that we're crediting where crediting is due, was presented a reading of that by Lunchbox, but Storybook supported it so that everyone could be there in their building safely and recording live. And the only reason that I got to direct the show that I directed in October and November was because Storybook was supporting the company that I was directing for. And even Spring Awakenings, like in my memory, you were the first company to go, we're doing it, like we're jumping on it. And I'm not surprised because you have such a drive and an energy and a firecrackerness about you, JP. So it wasn't surprising to me, but I wonder how, I personally go, how many people would have made the jump if somebody hadn't just gone, look, here we go, we're doing it. And the amount of your support for all the things so far has made so many things possible that couldn't have been possible. So why are you so nice? Answer.
Well, I think when this started, my goal was to create for the community. And what I've come to realize, would I do it all over again? The hard answer is no. And not because I wouldn't do it to open it up, but it was hard, like personally hard to do. But now that I've done it, I've just shifted my focus. My focus used to be, how do I save my company and get us through the pandemic? And my thinking was, okay, we'll do this and we'll make all this money. There's no money in it. whatsoever. Right? And so the government subsidies are what's allowing this to happen. So my focus has really shifted now. What can we do to continue to create community and connect the community? And what does that mean? I've got an empty building that people can utilize. And if they can utilize it safely, then why can't I offer it to more people to create the sense of community that we've lost? Right? So ultimately, that's been my goal. And in doing that, I mean, back to what Griffin was saying, right? Like the novelty for me, the excitement, that's what's fueled me has been, what can we do to make people go, cool, next, right? Like, what's the next kind of level of this? Because I think at first people thought, like, you can't save theater. Theater isn't meant to be online, so why are you working so hard to do this? And I've realized that wasn't my goal. My goal was literally community and to figure out new ways to tell stories and new ways of doing things. And I think that's what keeps me going right now, is keeping the community together in some way, whatever that might be, whether it's renting the space out to other people or finding new ways to tell stories and have fun little things that make people like Griffin go, oh, cool. Like when we did Naughty But Nice at Christmas with Forte Musical Theatre Guild, there was one song in the show, Bailey's for Breakfast, that we did all in one shot camera, but all the props came in and out of frame, right? And which you couldn't do in theater, but all of a sudden in film, we could do this theater technique on film. So that's what's exciting me about right now, is that my creative juices can still flow, telling and doing new things. So that's kind of where my brain's at right now.
And you are in a unique position too, or a position that a lot of other companies in Alberta aren't in which you are your space. So there's a lot of people, I think, that are having trouble sharing their space using their space because they're in a building that is not open.
That's right.
Right? So I think although you've had some shit ton of luck with your building lately, with graffiti and break-ins and
graffiti, but everyone's hurting in some way, so you can't fault them.
That Naughty But Nice shot was too cool.
Yes.
All right, let's get down to the brass tacks let's get down to the real business of it. Where do people go? How do they get their tickets? How much is it? When do you get to see it? How long is it? How many times do you say the word bum? Give me the whole pizza pie.
What's the bum count, Daniel?
Well, there's 6 performers, so that's 6. And then in harmony, we can assume maybe 8 more. So that's 6 plus 8. So for those of you who can do mental math,
great, 12.
Keeping you sharp.
I did that on purpose. I really hate to say
I'm going to cut a lot of this out. Daniel's been doing math for half an hour. So anyway, now back to the show.
I'm still figuring that one out.
The show runs online, starts streaming April 9th to 25th. It's presented at scheduled showtime so that you can actually feel like you're going to see a theater show. You sit down with your family, watch the show. It's 55 minutes from start to finish. If you get up to go to the bathroom, you get up to go to the bathroom and you miss that part of the show just like you would in a real theater. So we want to give you the real theater experience. It's $32 online, ages 3+. Incredible Canadian Calgarian cast and crew. It's the original designers in the show are back. Everything's back on a whole new, brilliant way, and it's all Calgary artists, which is what makes it really exciting. Doing this great Robert Munch show that maybe for the first time in its history, Robert Munch might actually get to see.
Hey, that's right.
Yeah, so who knows?
I was excited that you have a Bauer because the Bauers at Storybook are kind of like the Barrymores.
They kind of are.
Right?
You're right.
The family involvement of the Bauers is, and the talent in that family is quite astounding.
Yeah, they're a great family, and Jill's fantastic in the part.
So anyway, Robert Munch, thanks for listening to this episode. Check out the production; it'll be really great. And thanks for listening. You've been such a good fan, emailing and tweeting us in with
thanks,
your notes.
Bob.
And
you're great.
And
thanks.
Yeah,
thanks, Bob.
Bobby Munch,
Mr.
Bobby
Munch,
attorney at law.
Can I call you BM? Nope.
You can call him Bum.
Call him BM. don't. You can call me BM. You can call me Bum.
Sorry, I'm just getting an email here saying that the rights have been
revoked.
Cease and desist.
Is that
Cease and desist.
Is that right?
Liable.
Dog the Bounty Hunter is at my door. I don't know if that's part of the podcast or.
Oh, jeez.
JP Daniel, thank you very much for joining us on The Breakfast Dish.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, it was tough waking up this morning, but it was great to be here. Thanks for having me.
That's right. The warehouse manager is letting me know that our rental is only available till 5 a.m., so we actually have to get out of here, and we will let you guys go. But before we do, Karen, what else is going on coming up?
Okay, coming up, the Calgary Underground Film Festival, or Film Festival, or Theatre Festival.
No.
No, not at all.
It's film.
The Calgary Underground Film Festival, April 23rd to May 2nd. It's live streamed online. Go to calgaryundergroundfilm.org. The word free appears on their Facebook event, which makes me happy. But it's also, besides being online April 23rd to May 2nd, there is 3 days of drive-ins following June 3rd to 5th. They're going to offer some drive-ins.
They announced their first wave, 2 of them being local films. There's Bloodthirsty, Amelia Moser's Bloodthirsty, which is a werewolf movie, and the North County Cinema's Range Roads, starring Alana Holly Purvis and Joe Perry. I highly recommend. They look very, very cool. But those are the first announcements of local films. So check out Cuff. Cuff's so cool.
You're way more knowledgeable than me. I'm reading this off a piece of paper, and you're like, this title with these people.
I couldn't tell you the dates, but I love Cuff.
Okay, good. The other thing that is interesting, this is very different from what I usually talk about.
Very different from what I usually talk about. Here's some financial advice. Roth IRA.
Put money in your RESP. It's free money. Decidedly Jazz Dance Works, DJD, is having auditions, and they're in person. If you just dance, just get you might never have thought that. Just go. DJD does amazing stuff. I've taken classes there. Go audition. See what happens. I'm not going to. No one wants to see that. But you should, people.
I'm going to.
So you go to decidedlyjazz.com. Decidedlyjazz.com. Oh, wait a minute. Yep. But also, if you want an audition, you write to jbaker@decidedlyjazz.com. JBAKER.
I sometimes there people behind the microphone. Sometimes you record these afterwards, and we kind of put them in, and we do like to riff on them. But the upside is that Griffin doesn't interrupt while you're trying to read them.
No, that's okay. I'm known for interrupting. I just did it there. See?
I also just want to pop in here and say that The Breakfast Dish is part of the Alberta Podcast Network. Locally grown, community supported, the intro music that you just heard and the outro music you're about to hear is by Alexandra Cowman. All graphic design for The Breakfast Dish has been done by Morgan Ermter. JP and Daniel, how we usually like to wrap up on The Breakfast Dish is we ask our guests an improvised question that Karen makes up on the spot that might have something to do with what we just talked about, but maybe not, but she is a professional improviser, so here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, Daniel Fong, what does the prince in Paper Bag Princess buy the princess when he takes her out for breakfast?
Oh, that's very simple. He buys her a mirror, but it's on the wrong side, so she holds it up and it shows him.
Awesome. And JP, if you were you were doing the lighting design for a breakfast that you and I have had at Eggs Oasis, what are the first 2 elements you'd put in that lighting design?
I would put a lovely rose-colored gel to make us look fantastic.
Lovely.
And a nice bright amber to keep it sunny.
Okay, I'm going to suggest something to end this episode, and it's kind of crazy, but I think I need all 4 of us to try our best bum harmony.
That's what I was about to say!
Oh, God. Okay. I want everyone to know before we do this that Joe's LeBay's and the performance harmony is going to be a lot better than this. So the legal team here at The Breakfast Dish...
They are not responsible for what's about to happen.
It's going to be... We're not at all the quality. These 2 might be. I'm not going to be. So here we go.
I dibs first note.
Oh, God. I was going to do it. It was my idea. Karen, you ruined it.
Okay. Bum.
Bum.
Everybody 1, 2, 3. That did not sound like ass.
Well, here's the
Sounded
truth.
like a flock of mosquitoes.
There's a fun Zoom thing that will silence all of the other people's audios when you're talking. So I'll be honest, 4 of us, we don't know what it sounded like, but the listener will for sure, and I will when I'm editing, and I'm not cutting it out. No one can make me.
I'm telling you right now, listeners, it did not sound like ass. You loved it. You loved it.
All right, and with that scold for our audience, we're out. This episode of The Breakfast Dish is brought to you by RUMI, like a roommate, Mom.
I wish you were still my roomie.
Cold drafts?
Yep.
Flickering lights? And
Yes.
Where's that leak coming from?
Me forgetting to turn the sink off.
I see. If you ever wonder what's really going on in your home, like it sounds like Karen might be, RUMI's Ask a Home Inspector service can help. You have to call. You have to call. It really sounds like I'm
really
worried
does.
about you. Connect with a certified professional home inspector by phone or video call and get your question answers video call.
Thank you so much. It's a new normal.
RUMI will let you know what's easily fixable with a little DIY, or when you might need to call in some professional help.
Like me.
Visit RUMI.ca. That's RUMI, RUMI.ca, and book your Ask a Home Inspector appointment today.
Something's on fire.
What?
This has been The Breakfast Dish.